What's up, rich friends? Jamie Dorshak here, back with you for your August YCE mini course training on copywriting. If you hear some scraping in the background, my dog is being a little bit of a freak, so I tried to feed him some lunch. Hopefully he'll stop humping this pillow and eat his lunch. Today, we're here talking about email marketing. This is your video 2 in your mini course for August, and it's going to be essentials for email marketing. I have a value-packed lesson for you here today. We're going to spend a lot of time on the desktop, so not with me on the face cam, just for this intro because I know that you love to see my face and I love to connect with you guys. So we're going to go over, this is really kind of in 2 parts. There's like a tactical part where I'm going to tell you some specific ways of making emails. Some of you wrote to me that you want to learn more about how do you make ideas for emails, so that's kind of what we're going to cover in the tactics section. And then we're also going to look at some of my personal blueprints for autoresponders that I have written for my own clients. So we're going to go over the only 3 reasons that you should email somebody, jump into some tactics, and then I'm going to pull real autoresponders. We're going to look at some real copy together so that you can understand even better how you can apply these concepts to your own business, okay? So with all that being said, I think that let's just dive right into it because, like I said, there's a lot that we have to get through today. So copywriting for email marketing, the essentials for email marketing. Let's start with the only 3 reasons that you should be sending an email to somebody. You should send them an email because you want to provide them value. You could send them an email because you want to educate them about I said solutions to their problem, but it could even be educating them about their problem. It really just depends on how pain aware your market is. So some people, like if you're talking about preventing heart disease and you're targeting 30-year-olds, they're not really going to be having heart disease in the forefront of their mind. You know what I mean? So we call that a low awareness market. But if you were taking the same heart disease, the heart disease marketing, and you were targeting people who have previously had a heart attack in the past, maybe they're a little bit older, that would be people who have like a high target market awareness. So the only 3 reasons that you should ever email someone is to provide value, to either educate them more about their problem or to educate them about possible solutions to the problem. And finally, the 3rd reason that you should be emailing people is to offer a solution to their problem, and that's you. You're the solution, okay? But notice that when we're talking about why should you send your list an email, I didn't say anything about you. I didn't say because you need to make a connection with them or because you have a new product that you want to send them. That's a problem with marketing today, is that oftentimes how we make marketing decisions is we start with, oh, I have this product. I need to sell so many products to meet my sales goal, and it kind of escalates outwards from there until eventually, after you're done with all of your concerns, then it's and also the customer, them. So that's not the way that I want to teach you to think about your marketing. And if that's what you're doing right now, that's okay, because that's how marketing is really taught in business schools and also in online courses that are based off of MBA style education. So it's pretty normal. But what I like to teach instead is to start with the client, okay? Like I talked about this in our first lesson as well. You need to start with your target market. You need to say, what are their problems? What are their goals? What is it that they're trying to work towards? And then how can I help them? And so when you get to the how can I help them area, then you can start to think about like individual products that you can offer or how your existing mix of products and services fits into their lives. But so I want to encourage you to start with an outside in marketing instead of an inside out, okay? Inside is when you're starting with yourself. You're starting with your sales goals. You're starting with your, desires for your own business, your financial goals, and then only after that do you think about the client. But so that doesn't really lead to very client-forward marketing, I'm sure that you can see. So it's better when you're approaching email marketing in particular, but really anything that you're doing, whether it's Facebook ads or any type of paid advertising, honestly, because part of getting the conversion is understanding what people want from a solution anyway. So you'll have a lot greater success if you focus on doing an outside-in style of marketing, okay? So now I just wanted to give you a little bit of housekeeping. This is a message kind of about how I approach emails. I am not going to be teaching you how to make templates, so don't ask me questions about that. I teach text-based emails because there are some huge problems with using templates. Number one, using a template, it's not really correlated to a higher click-through rate or higher conversions, but even more importantly is that it's actually using a heavy template is setting you up with a lot of disadvantages. And we're gonna flip in a second to the desktop. I'm gonna show you some examples of what exactly I'm talking about, okay? But so what are some of the problems with using templates in your emails? It's that when your email is really big, like over 100 kilobytes, that is a signal to Google that this is a promotional message. Because if you and me were just writing each other emails, I'm not gonna be sending you some huge message with lots of pictures and lots of templates. Like, no, that's not what personal correspondence looks like. It would be more text-based. It would be, oh, hey, Lisa, it was really great to meet you at the networking event. I really liked A, B, and C that we talked about. I would really enjoy meeting with you for coffee so that we could pick up on X where we left off. Thanks, Jamie. So Google is smart enough and has enough access to huge amounts of data. Okay, you have to understand that Google is sorting through billions of emails being sent to and from. They know what emails get opened, what emails don't, and even though they don't make a big display of telling you that they know that information, they're definitely collecting that type of data. And they use this data to make decisions about what should go directly to the inbox. And you may have noticed that in Gmail or in Inbox, their other app. And I don't know, you'll have to tell me what other types of inbox services that you use. Do you use like Outlook or something like that? Do you use other online services like Yahoo or something like that? I have the most experience with Google, so I'm going to tell you this from the Google perspective, okay? But so if you'll notice in Gmail or in Inbox, which is their other Gmail product, they have this new thing called tabs. They'll have like social tab, promotional tab. Obviously, things that are not in the main inbox, they don't get opened as often, they don't get clicked as often, and they also kind of get brushed to the back of the mind because, and like I said, we're going to jump on the desktop, so you'll see this with your own eyes, but it really only displays, well, first off, when you're sorted into the promotional tab, it doesn't actually display your subject line, it only shows the sender line, and then it'll only show like 4 senders, so it would be like, oh, Savory Spice Shop, Cleopatra Records, Pet Pal, in this promotional tab, Pet Pal Inc., and then ... And so if you're in that ... if you're one of those other 20 plus messages that have been sorted into the promotional tab, it's highly unlikely that people, they're not even seeing your great subject line, they're not seeing your great preview text, they're only making a decision at that point to open your message or not based off of a sender name, which yours may not even be displaying. And Google has a new behavior that they're trying to encourage, the sweep. They want you to take multiple messages out of your inbox at any one time. So they don't want you to be open, sort, open, sort, open, sort. They want you to scan your subject lines, open maybe 2 or 3 that you're interested in, and then sweep away the other 20 without ever opening them or ever looking at them. So another big problem with using templates is that Google actually only shows a certain amount of your message. if you have a template that involves I am staunchly against templates, but if you have like a header banner or something like that, that's your style. I don't encourage it. But what I'm really talking about addressing is like the full template, that there's a header image, a footer image, and that the body text is not even plain text. It's like against an image background. All of those pictures that don't really add anything, like as particularly the background of the body text, it's usually just gray, or it's usually just white and it's loading an image to display that white. You see what I'm saying? And so Google actually cuts your email off over 102 kilobytes, which that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. That's like maybe 2 or 3 large pictures. So if you're using heavy templates, you're putting yourself at risk that even if somebody, you've probably already been sorted into the promotions tab, but even if somebody did locate your message, was interested enough to open it, then you're putting another barrier in front of them that they're only going to be able to read a portion of your sales message, and they're going to have to click out to see the full message. So that's why I don't encourage template usage at all, because it just puts a lot more barriers to your message getting in touch with your market. Okay, so what we're going to be learning today in the blueprint portion, where I'm going to show you real copy. I mean, we're going to look at real copy in a second too, but that's not copy that I wrote. But yeah, when I show you the real copy, you'll be able to see how you can execute this against your own business. Okay, so let's jump now really quick to the desktop, because like I said, we're going to look at some real copy examples right now. I'm going to show you what this what this promotional tab is. We're going to look at my Gmail so that you can see what your customers are seeing, okay? And keep in mind that Gmail is the most popular email protocol software in usage today. So it's really likely that a lot of your lists are using the Gmail interface, and even if they have their own domain name, so even if it's like Jamie@thedoerco.com, a lot of businesses use Gmail to manage their company personal domain emails. So you really can't tell, even if like 50% of your list has a @gmail.com domain, there could be actually more than 50% of people using Gmail on your list. So that's why this is really important to understand. It's really important to understand the drawbacks of using a template. And if you still want to use one after we explain all of this, great, go for it. But I just wanted to give you the warning in advance. And so now we're going to hop to the desktop and we're going to look at some examples of this in real life so that you can really understand what we're talking about. All right, what's up, rich friends? We're here with the desktop view. Like I said, we're going to take a look at them. I'm going to show you, we're looking at my Gmail right now. I use the inbox version of Gmail, so it will look a little bit different if you use gmail.com, but I highly recommend checking out this inbox.google.com if you use Gmail and you've never heard of this. I really like the way that this layout is set up. I think it looks really slick, so check it out. This used to be by invite only, but I'm pretty sure that they have just opened it up now, like a while ago, not just now that this happened, but I'm pretty sure that now it's currently available for anybody who is interested in using it. So what I mean when I say this main inbox here, that's what we're looking at here, where this says Brad, this says Benny, this says the Skim, Cora. These are things that are getting into my main inbox, okay? And so that the difference right here, this blue one, these are this is the promotions tab. And you'll see it pops up here with just a number. It says 4 new. And this is what I was talking about, that it only shows a limited number of senders, okay? This blue one, this green one, finance, and I thought I saw another one. No, okay, so just these two. These are tabs. These ones, purchases, that's one. These ones come default by Google. This is how they have identified that people will probably already want to sort their email inboxes. And I'll tell you that a lot of the design for these came from evaluating people's sorting filters in Gmail. So that's what I mean when I say that Google, like, they don't really advertise that they're looking at all of this stuff, you know what I mean? But they definitely are. They're paying attention to what all the emails that you send, all the emails that you receive, how you're sorting them, which ones you do and you don't open, how long you spend reading them. So, like, it's definitely a little bit creepy. But I wanted to show you the difference between this main inbox and this promos tab, because this is what I'm talking about when I say don't use templates. So first, let's check out, I screenshotted some that I wanted to show you. This is one email from a local no-kill adoption center, and this one, it doesn't seem like it should be counted as a template, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very, very loose template. It doesn't have a header image. Well, it appears that it doesn't have a header image, but I believe the header image is actually hashtag adopted from PetPal. I think that they probably made that like a JPEG or a PNG, and they drop it in at the top of their, well, they probably have it saved as a template already, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that this is an image instead of text. But just when you're organizing your emails like this, the only way to do it is to use templates. They're not just straight up typing some text in there. So unfortunately, the fact that this is such a heavy templated email, even though there's a lot of like text, there's a lot of value in here, Google is just seeing that it has a high, like a big size, it has a high kilobytes for the one message. And just that it's inside of a template and not that it's one-to-one correspondence. Another example of the promo tab is this. This one is from Savory Spice Shop. Again, this has a big banner PNG at the top. It has a video embed. These tabs, these are all features that come from having a template, and this is getting sorted into the promotional tab. So I just wanted to show you, let's look at what types of emails do make it through and get into the main inbox. So I have a couple of, like I said, I kind of made these some screenshots because I didn't know what my inbox was going to look like exactly today, but I'm also going to show you a few that are in my live inbox. But so this one is by Benny Lewis, and as you saw again in my other my main inbox, there's another one from here. So the style that he writes his emails in, it's being successfully sorted into my main inbox pretty much every single time. So this is exactly what I mean by text-based emails, okay? There's no header image at the top. This is several blocks of paragraphs, and how is he dividing his email? He's dividing it with header text, you know, it's just plain old text. Text, text, links, text, text, links, links, text, 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 okay? So that's what I'm trying to impart on you with these examples. This one is another one. This one is by Noah Kagan, and I wanted to show you this example because it did get into my main inbox, but he also used a picture in here. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, Jamie's telling me that I shouldn't use images at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, though, that you should avoid templates. And if you have an image that you want to use, it makes a visual impact, you think that it will add something to your message, like in this one, it's adding some social proof that there is literally a dude named James who watches Noah's YouTube channel, so there's real human beings who are actually interested in it, you know what I mean? So that's what this image is adding, besides just having the literal text of the comment. There is a purpose for having it there. So it's fine to use some images if you think that that will help you, but what I want to impart on you is that the bulk of your email should be text, 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 link, text, text, okay? So Let me just jump over to the live email real quick, because this is another one from Benny. This one's, like I said, it's not screenshots. This is just live in my inbox right now. You'll notice that he always opens it up with the name. He will he'll usually reference something in the past, because in the other one he was like, oh, how is your Friday? That's kind of referencing how has your day already been in the past. And so here he's referencing his previous emails. But again, you'll see text. He opted to write out a comment instead of like using an image to communicate that comment. So it's possible that he was just concerned that adding the image would be too big of a file size and that Google might kind of flag it. Because when you are like Benny and you have a consistent, like you're consistently getting sorted into the main inbox, then it becomes something that you're extremely conscious of. Like, you don't want to lose that sorting. So if Google sees that you're starting to send out a lot of heavy image emails, they could sort you back into promos. So it's not something that like you have it once and you keep it. You're under constant evaluation. So I think that might be why you see him being a little bit more conscious of using like not using images, avoiding using them. And so I wanted to show you as well. This one came from Pat Flynn, and I thought that it was pretty funny because he is selling Sam Cart, just like we are in the Yacht Club Elite. So I just thought that this was a great message to show you so that we could look. And I might even read this one because I want you to see, we know how Nicole is talking to us about Sam Cart. Let's see how Pat is talking about Sam Cart. Hi, Jamie. I hope you had a great weekend. I published my July income report today, and see, look, he's training us to click out, and that when we click out, we get value, because for whatever reason, these online business gurus, they get a lot of value out of it. Like, they must be getting a lot of value out of the income report. We discussed the placement in the menu bar for both Pat Flynn and John Lee Dumas, so it's obvious that they highly value these. It could just be good results, you know what I mean? Like, if you are debating on whether or not you should learn from Pat or learn from John to say that they have like 6- and 7-figure revenue businesses, you know, that is definitely some evidence that you could follow what they say and, you know, not be like taken or screwed or something. So, which includes the results of my recent launch of my new course, Power Up Podcasting, and a lot of the behind the scenes into it. One particular tool I used, Sam Cart, played a significant role in the success of the launch, and I wanted to send you this email. So see, I wanted to send you this email because of how much value Sam Cart has given him, and conveniently they're running a free trial offer that he also wants us to see. I wonder why. For the same probably reason as Nicole, I'm sure that both of them are affiliating maybe for Sam Cart. So click out here. That's going to take us, I assume, to like a sign up page. Yes, and so they're using indicators of scarcity on this page as well. They have the countdown up here. Yes, I was assuming that this was a video.
So you want to start selling stuff online.
Assuming that was a video that was kind of taking a long time to load. This is something that we call a sales letter, by the way. So I wanted to teach you guys more about how to do this type of copywriting, because this is the majority of what I do for clients besides setting up the email sequences. And I think that it's extremely important, but I just haven't quite figured out where I want to incorporate this into the lessons. So I was thinking like probably the 4th video, since we're talking about advertising. But you know, let me know if you see this and there's all these subheaders and headers and check marks and bullets. And so do you want to learn why they wrote this page the way that they do and how you could write a page like this yourself? Let me know. Type it in the comments if that's something that you think that you would be interested in too. Maybe I can incorporate it into our lessons, or I can maybe make a product or make a guidebook or write an article, something that would be appropriate for you to learn how to do this. So then he's just talking about, whether it's a digital product, a membership site, or a physical product, even for services, anything you want to sell, Sam Cart is great. He wants to communicate to you that there's low friction involved. It's not a process that's going to take you an hour, which you probably don't have time for, but you probably do have time for 15 minutes to make some revenue. So that's why he's making the point of mentioning that here. Numbered lists and bullets are something that we will briefly discuss bullets in our tactical section that comes next. But if you're not quite sure what to write, you kind of run out of steam with your story, and you know that you have a few extra points, but you're not sure quite how to incorporate them, you could just do a bulleted list or a numbered list just to get the rest of the messaging out that you want to. And people aren't bothered by that because they will skim and they will pick out the tidbits that are interesting to them. And I wanted to show you all of these emails because something that some people are concerned with is they're asking me, Jamie, shouldn't I be writing very short emails? Don't people have a bad attention span? Shouldn't I only keep my business emails to 300 words? And I just wanted to show you these examples of what the pros are doing, because that's not what they're doing, guys. They're not writing templates. They're not writing 300-word emails. They're writing text-based emails with only links, not with buttons, okay? They're running text-based emails with link clickouts, and they're not short. They're detailed, meaty, long, and so that's what I want to encourage you to do. You don't need to write like 1,000 words every single time, but I don't want you to feel the pressure to keep it short either. You should write as many words as it takes you to communicate the value of what's going on. And so in this situation, Pat had a lot of stuff that he wanted to communicate to us about Samcart. And so it took him quite a lot of words to communicate all of these benefits to us. But the most important thing in marketing is that you're trying to give people all of the information they need to be able to make an informed decision. So another common question that I've been getting from you guys is, how often should I be emailing my list actually? So I have an answer that you're maybe not gonna like at first, but just wait, okay, and bear with me. So the ideal number of times that you should reach your list to be effective, and this is some data that I got from HubSpot. I'm hoping to put together some show notes or something for you guys so that I can link out to a few resources so that you can continue your education even outside of this video. But yeah, I hope to link that up. But this is data that I got from HubSpot.com. And so they also are monitoring hundreds of thousands of email marketing messages going out, okay? So I definitely trust I trust that they have access to a very detailed and very accurate data set. So that's why I'm comfortable using this data in this presentation with you. But so according to HubSpot, the best number of frequency, how much you should email your list per month, you should be getting in touch with them 15 to 30 times per month. Wow. Okay. So that's pretty much every day or every other day. And so I know what you're thinking right now. Like, oh my God, Jamie, I don't even have time to write. I know that you really don't even have time to write one email per week. So how are you ever going to write 15 to 30 emails per month? Like, and that's taking you from maybe 4 emails up to 15 to 30 times. And I understand, okay? I understand that that's definitely a lot to ask for. So oftentimes business owners will hire a copywriter like me to help them out, because just the output of content on the back end alone, let alone content marketing or other strategies that you might be doing, it's a lot of content that we have to put out today, guys, to be successful in the online marketing space. I don't want to say in the online business world, because I know that a lot of you are offering consulting, which it could be an online business, but maybe you also are working with clients in person. And some of you may just have literal products. You may have brick and mortar stores and stuff like that. So I don't want you to feel like this is not relevant to you. This is relevant to businesses who are doing marketing tactics online. So that's like whether or not your business is actually in the online space. It's for everybody, okay? But so how could we make it maybe easier to communicate with users this often? First, I'm going to say that I definitely recommend increasing the number of emails that you write to your list regularly. So even if you're at 1 now, if you could do 2 per week, that would be great. But I'm going to tell you a secret. The most important aspect of when somebody joins your list and how frequently you need to do this back and forth with them, it's within the first 30 days that they join your list, okay? That's when it's critical. That's when, after the 30 days, that person has built their habits in their brain about whether or not they're opening your emails, whether or not they're enjoying your emails. And honestly, even if they don't unsubscribe, that doesn't mean that they are chill with your emails. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure that you have a lot of dead weight on your lists who are not opening it. And that's not an accusation, because I do too. Like, I want to tell you something honestly. I cut my list down all the time, because that's like an important part of having like email marketing hygiene. But I had a list of like 400 subscribers, and I actually cut that down to 100 because it's a little over 100 now, because I keep getting new people who sign up on my blog and my website. And like I said, I work all the time with clients who have lists of several thousand, of several hundred. But it's just that I kind of had acquired some people from traffic sources that were not converting well for me. So I stopped those traffic sources, and I just took off everybody who was really inactive on my list, because it was tanking my open rates, let alone my click-through rates. But my open rates were like only 10, like between 10 and 15%. And since I cleaned it up, now it's at like 35%. Okay, so this is something that even I struggle with too. It's just, we're all busy today in today's age, you know what I mean? But we're all busy. We have new sources of information all the time, information overload. So I get it. There are some people who may have other things on their mind, and maybe they don't enjoy hearing from us. And I'm here to tell you that that's completely fine. Okay. I actually ask people to unsubscribe from my email list all the time, even when I'm not necessarily cleaning them out myself. At least once a month, I do well, I guess it's a tag, but I have it as a group in my MailChimp that it tags people who haven't opened any of my last 5 email campaigns. And then I will send them an email at the end of the month like, oh, hey, I noticed that you're not opening my emails, and I just wanted you to know that there's no hard feelings if you unsubscribe. I would actually prefer that you unsubscribe, because I don't want to be bothering you with these emails if it's not something that you're into, okay? So that's, like I said, taking people off of your email list is a really important part of email hygiene. But outside of that, how can we make it easier to communicate with new subscribers 15 to 30 times per month? That seems really hard, but it's actually not, because what we're going to work out how to do together is you're going to create an email autoresponder that is responsible for pretty much, they call it lead nurturing in marketing, but it's responsible for helping new people in your list get to know you, get to build a relationship with your brand. And also the job of the autoresponder is to help you, the business owner, because you know that it's important to talk to people more frequently now than maybe you are. But at the same time, you know, not all of us have the time in our day to sit down and write a long email every single day. So this autoresponder is going to help you to keep up that frequency of communication easily without it being a stress for you. So we're going to dive into a few tactics to help you generate, like I said, ideas for your email marketing, because some people have reached out to me and said that what they struggle with their email marketing is even thinking what it is that you're going to write to them. And maybe you're thinking that right now, like how, oh great, I can send them 15 to 30 emails in advance. Now I just have to have 15 to 30 email ideas. I got you. And don't worry, like I said, you're going to be able to construct a full autoresponder after this entire lesson. We're going to do some tactics. I'm going to give you some email brainstorming ideas. And then we're going to review, Nicole mentioned a 3-part storytelling method So we're going to go a little bit more in depth on using that technique. I'm going to show you an example actually of of a three-part. This is what I'm going to show you the copy. It's in the style of the soap opera sequence, which is something that Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels teaches. I didn't write the emails that I'm going to show you, but I just thought that it would be really interesting to talk about because Nicole mentioned it, and I think that that's a perfect fit for this video. So I'm going to show you some emails in this three-part sequence that my friend Dan, he created. So we're going to, for your autoresponder, for the first 15 to 30 points of contact with your list, we're going to craft some specific messaging for your autoresponder. The first 5 to 10 emails are going to be like a planned out introduction to you, introduction to your brand. This will go over at the end of the video when I'll show you real autoresponders that I'm using with clients. But that's going to be your first 5 to 10, I would say, emails in your autoresponder. Then you're going to combine some of these brainstorming ideas, okay? Because I think that I'll have about 10 for you. So there's going to be like 5 to 10 little prompts that you can write for yourself. So that's some emails right there. Then you're going to combine, oh yeah, sorry, something else that you can do. You should brainstorm. This is a tactic right now, okay? I'm kind of segmenting this off. This is a tactic. If you have a notebook, take these notes right now. Brainstorm 5 to 10 frequently asked questions, okay? Because a question answer format, that is something that you can incorporate into your autoresponder. So you'll have at least 5 to 10 frequently asked questions, right? And then again, tactic here, write your notes. Think about what questions aren't people asking before they work with you. You're the expert. You know what misconceptions people have, maybe from working with a few clients finally. So in addition to your 5 to 10 frequently asked questions, you want to make 5 to 10 questions that people should ask, okay? Should be asking, but they're not. So you're going to have your 5 to 10 messaging that are geared to a particular purpose. What we're trying to do is, like, in the beginning, you're going to decide on a business objective for your email sequence. So you probably have like maybe a keystone product, like your most high value product that you want people to go to. If you're maybe a life coach, maybe you sell packages of months, you know what I mean? So like, if using a life coach example, like you would be the first 5 to 10 emails, you're trying to give people the information that they need to understand to decide whether or not to have a package of coaching from you is the right decision for them, okay? And so maybe that sounds like a little bit abstract, but like I said, we're gonna look at some real copy, and I'm gonna explain to you what these clients of mine, they had business objectives as well. But so it's just like identifying what it is that keeps your business moving forward. So it could be a sale. It could be a sale of a high price product. If you only have one product, it could be just a sale of that one product. If you are doing some coaching or consulting, it could even be just a discovery call, that having a constant influx of people doing discovery calls with you, and you find that that is what is moving your business along, helping people to be able to have the information that they need to decide whether or not booking with you is appropriate. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that makes you money. I'm a fan of doing something that makes you money, just so that you can generate some revenue up front from new subscribers, and it also makes them more open in the future to buying something else that you want to promote to them. But it could also be something like a discovery call or something that you have decided that moves your business forward. So you make the first 5 to 10 emails around providing information for that. Then, like I said, you're going to have your 5 to 10 FAQs, your 5 to 10 should asks, and then you can either create new like filler ideas from these brainstorming tactics that we're going to learn, from these 3-part storytelling tactics that we're going to learn, and or you can look in your previous emails that you've sent. your best performing content, sometimes you can just replicate emails that you know have performed well for you in the past and just add those into your email autoresponder, because you know that people who obviously are new to your list did not get emails that you've sent previously because physics and time-space logic. Okay? So let's jump right into learning some of the brainstorming tactics. And then for the 3-part storytelling, I think I'm going to take it to the desktop again, just so you know. So here are some little prompts that you could use to write email marketing messages for yourself when you're feeling stuck, or if you just need to flesh out this autoresponder more. These are some great prompts that you can use. Number 1 is that you can talk about a book that you've read, and particularly if the book that you've read is in the niche that your business is in. So it could be something like, oh, hey, Lisa, that's your reader. Reader is going to be Lisa for these examples, okay? But like, hey, Lisa, I hope that you had a great weekend. Over the weekend, I read a great book about running your business in a profitable way. Okay, so, and it's called Big Numbers, Simple, well, whatever, like, and it's called blah, blah, blah. It's by the author, and I think that it's perfect, you know, it definitely hits the mark. Just for example, here are some lessons that I picked up from the book, and then you can have bullet points of whatever you liked from the book. And then at the end, so I'm a believer that in every single email you should ask for them to click out to something, okay? So if you're using this one, you could maybe, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be to something that makes a sale. It could be to a sales page. It could be to your own content somewhere, because linking to your own content, that's giving value. Or it could be even linking to somebody else's content if somebody else has something of, you know, just great that you want to share with your list. So for this book example, you could potentially link out to like a video of the author or an interview. You know, a lot of authors of business books will do either talks at Google or they'll do TED Talks. So like those are 2 quick examples that you could search them up on YouTube and see if they have any of these types of things. Or you could even write a blog post yourself of takeaways and like notes from the book. You could link out to that. But so just wanted to hammer that point. At the bottom of each of these emails, you're trying to find something to link them out to, because you want to train people that, oh, when Lakeisha sends me an email, I enjoy the email, it's a good story, and I'm going to click out on her email because she's always sending me something great, something of value. So the second little brainstorm prompt that you can have is, again, like an FAQ. So you can kind of start it with quotes of like, oh, is this really going to work for me? I have X specific problem. Does that work for people like me? Does it really work for everyone? Because I've tried so many different methods and nothing has ever worked for me. So you kind of have in quotes 3 questions, because questions spark curiosity, right? And so to read over 3 questions, first off, you're emphasizing 3 times to the person like, oh, what's coming next? What's the point? I want to know more. You know, what are all these questions? What's the answer to them? So you're naturally building curiosity, and then it just leads pretty easily into your content. So you would just be like, oh, these are a few of the frequently asked questions that I get every day, and I get it from people who are struggling with their weight, who are struggling with their diet, and who are looking for a way to improve their nutrition in a way that's easy to incorporate into their lives. And this is a good thing that people are sending me these questions, because I know that you're skeptical, and I know that you may have even been burned before, but especially when it comes to the health world. And so here are a few facts about, and like, your solution, and then again bullet points underneath. So like one that I had in mind was Tamisha's website. So she could talk about like, oh yeah, you can have a more nutritious diet, but it doesn't involve being vegan. Yes, you can be healthy without being a vegan. You can have a plant-based lifestyle without committing to strict diet rules. So, or, you know, whatever. But so you want to like list some facts about how what you're teaching, what your product is like different from some of these things that have burned them in the past. And to go back to, I believe that I gave this tip on our live stream, I think. But something that you could do is you could use Amazon. Go, like for Tamisha, she could look at other recipe books that are in her niche, like trying to promote a plant-based, nutrient-dense lifestyle, but not in a way that's vegan necessarily. Although she could also look at vegan ones. But you want to look in Amazon. And even if you're a consultant, for people who have a physical product, it's a pretty easy one-to-one translation. Like, oh, I sell oranges. I'm going to look at oranges on Amazon and see what people hate about other oranges. But maybe if you're a coach or something, it can seem a little bit more unclear. How would you do that to gather information? Excuse me. But you could do it in much the same way. Instead of like, you know, obviously there's not going to be a 3-month consulting package for sale on Amazon, but what you can do is you can look at books, you can look at other information products that people have put out in your niche, and however you determine what type of Amazon products to look at, they should be either your competitors or at least information products in your niche. But then you want to look at the reviews, and you want to look at the 1- and 2-star reviews, see what people hate. And write it down like, oh, people hate that this is too long and too complicated and these recipes use weird ingredients. So for Tamisha, she could be like, look, in my program, you are not going to have to go to any specialty health food stores. We're going to teach you how to live a healthy lifestyle only with normal things in the grocery store. Okay, so if you're not sure what to write for these types of facts, looking at Amazon, that's a good resource. You want to look at what people hate, and you can talk about how you're different from that. You also could look at what people love. Look at the 5-star reviews, okay? You don't want to look at any 3 stars, but even 4 stars, it's like, why didn't you give it 5? You know what I mean? So you want you to be a 5-star experience. So look at the 5 stars and learn from them. You can hit on those same points if you want. But the easiest way to distinguish yourself is to like look at what people hate and say that you're not that, okay? So the third brainstorming tactic that you can use is you can just kind of comment on the industry, on industry like myths or gossip. So for Tamisha, it could be like, hey, Lisa, let's talk about veganism. What's that? There's a little bit of a clean eating mafia on Instagram, and all of these healthy lifestyle people will shame you and lead you to believe that you couldn't possibly be healthy unless you completely give up all of your favorite meals. And some people are really angry about it too. And then you can say, but me, I have whatever different perspective. And then you can kind of lead into like, but look, you know, that is a complete and total myth. Here's why. Here's what I've learned over working with clients. I've created a system that you can keep enjoying your favorite foods, especially your favorite food groups. I don't believe that cutting out a whole food group, how can that possibly be healthy for you? It's not. You can incorporate, you know, data. There's definitely, you know, for this example, there's definitely a lot of research out there on veganism, on nutrient deficiencies in people who adhere to a strict vegan lifestyle. Also, those replacement products, like, they're creepy, so you can talk a lot about stuff like that. But a third way that you can kind of brainstorm a prompt generation topic for your email list is you can talk about like myths, attack myths in your industry. Another one that you can use is and if you've never really had, I feel like we've all had somebody email us to complain before, though, about our services. Nicole just posted that the pay me what I'm worth template. And judging from the reactions by that, I'm sure that we've all had people who have felt the need to complain about either our prices or our product or the positioning for one reason or another. And usually when we get that type of response, it can hurt. We're out here trying to provide value. We're just trying to do the best job that we can. So nobody really, unless you're like a total scammer, but nobody sets out from the beginning like wanting to upset people, you know what I mean? So I'm with you, and it hurts when we get those types of messages, but sometimes we can use these messages for our own benefit. We can profit from them. So something that you could do is you could be like, Lisa, last week or yesterday or whatever, I got an interesting email from somebody. This was before they've tried my program. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's somebody who's complaining about, like, who hasn't worked with you before. And here's what it said. You like copy paste the email, or you could rewrite it. You know what I mean? You can kind of write out the complaint, communicate their message if you don't want to, I don't know, put them on blast or something totally. But yeah, so you just kind of replicate it there, and then you can be like, oh, I wondered if this person had a point, but then I reviewed my material, or I reviewed if they were like complaining about the price of your course or something. You can kind of look at your marketing messaging and be like, look, I was taking a look at the promises that I make you for this, and these are really astounding results for the price. And then you just list out your evidence, list out your facts about what this person said is not true. And then again, at the bottom, you can link out to, in this instance, if it was like somebody, like maybe they were complaining about the pricing of your program or something, so then you would link out at the bottom. This is a good one to use a PS on. So you'll be like, oh yeah, here are all these facts. So how is this not value? Then you can end, do your sign off. Then you could be like, oh, PS, like just for the irony of the situation, you gotta check out my live a healthier plant-based life in 5-day challenge. Check it out here, and then you can link it. Another email brainstorming tip that you can use is this. It starts as a subject line. It would be why I don't X, and so the X should be like everything or something that everybody else does. So Tamisha is a great example because her product is all about helping you live a healthier lifestyle without being vegan. So hers could be like why I don't, or like why I'm not a vegan, or why I don't teach veganism, something like that. And it's a very compelling subject line because in this example, like if you're interested in having a healthier lifestyle, I'm sure, of course, that many people have come over the information. Like we all know that we should cut down our animal proteins, but I'm sure that we've all come across places where the messaging is geared specifically towards pushing you to a vegan or to like a vegetarian lifestyle. So it can be extremely powerful to address that in a message in particular, and it'll draw people's attention when you're picking out, again, like a big, not like a myth, but like a big idea in your industry and attacking it. People are going to want to check that out. Another one that you can use is you can just kind of like, I'll call it like make a hype subject line. So you could be like a wacky, crazy way that I lost weight, or like a insane way to be 10 times more productive, or like the craziest way that I helped my client finally break through and find inner harmony, like that type of thing. So you can just put your like a crazy way that I benefit, and then it's pretty easy to if it's your story, then in the email body you would be telling like your story. You should start with where you were before. Like I keep going back to Tamisha, but I've like looked at her website the most. So like if it was about a wacky crazy way that I lost 20 pounds without cutting out or without becoming a vegan. Okay, so she could be like, you start a little bit about your struggle before. So she's talking, I don't know, about struggling with her weight, or she's talking about maybe studying to become a nutritionist, because I think that she is a nutritionist. But you kind of do a little bit of a preview there of what was going on before. You can talk about then what happened when you bumped up against the thing. So for her, it would be like maybe she tried to completely cut out meat from her diet. What happened after that? So she'll talk about how it was like stressful and it sucked a lot, and also she missed meat. And then she could say, but you know, there has to be a better way, and there is, and it's her way. Then you tell them how you kind of came into your way, a little bit about the benefits of that. If your subject line was more about like, we were talking more about, craziest way that I ever helped one of my clients find inner harmony or whatever. If it's focused on somebody else, you can kind of make it either like a case study or like kind of a testimonial type thing. You could use one that's like, here is some of the best advice that I've ever got. That can be the subject line. And then you can just go and detail either advice that you got or a big breakthrough that changed the way that you operate in your niche. That's a great thing to share with people. Finally, you can tell people the subject line would be, this email contains, and an ellipses, ... So if you're delivering them like a report, it could be like, this email contains a shameless bribe. Or if you're maybe Tamisha sharing with them like a 7-day template for like a meal diet template, it could be like, this email contains the secret to effortless plant-based cooking, or something like that. So those are just some thoughts on some prompts, some brainstormers. If you really don't know what type of stories would be relevant for your list, you can use some of these to use as a structure, as a framework. And I am sure that, like, let's say that you're somebody right now who you're sitting there, you're like, I really have no idea how I'm going to think of these stories. I have no idea what type of stories my list is interested in hearing from me. If you sit down over the weekend, let's say, and you really take the time, write like a sample email for each of the prompts that I just described, and I promise you that by the time you go through and do like 7 or 10 emails in a row, by the end of it, you're going to have a really clear idea of how you want to be communicating your stories with your list. So now I'm pretty sure that we're going to flip to the desktop. We're going to look at the 3-part storytelling technique that Nicole detailed on her Facebook page the other day. I thought that was an awesome tactic to teach you. It'll help you a lot with your email list. So let's jump right into that and look at some copy. All right, so I kind of teased this at the beginning, but I wanted to show you the post by Nicole that inspired me to include this in our lesson today on emails. But Nicole was posting about a tactic to tell your story in 3-part using cliffhangers as a way to increase your engagement on your email list and as a way to increase your opens. So I thought that was a great idea, and I want to share with you. These are some emails that a friend of mine, Dan, wrote. He's a neurosomatic therapist, which is basically like a fancy massage therapist, and he is not happy with that explanation, but to get into more detail, it might be a little bit more complicated. But he's basically like a massage therapist, and what this email is from is that they ran an online summit, maybe you've heard of virtual summits before, called Symmetry Summit. And by basically the way that they executed the Symmetry Summit, they planned, they had like a 2-month promotional run to promote the summit. And at the end of it, they actually generated over 1,000 leads from scratch. And they generated like, I think about $2,000 of revenue on the back end because they were selling like replays of the videos in the Symmetry Summit. So at the end of the Symmetry Summit, he put it on using ClickFunnels as well, which we just saw. I don't know if you noticed, but the Samcart page that we were looking at with the countdown on it, it said powered by ClickFunnels down in the bottom right-hand corner. So Dan was also using ClickFunnels as well. So he wrote a 3-part series with these cliffhanger technique that Nicole mentioned, and Russell Brunson teaches it. It's called the soap opera sequence. So if you just want to Google that, you'll find a lot of helpful articles that can give you even more detail, even more guideline on how you can incorporate this for yourself. But I just wanted to show you guys. Oh yeah, so he wrote like a 3-part soap opera sequence to try to sell ClickFunnels subscriptions afterwards, because a lot of he works at a clinic for neurosomatic therapy, and it's a little bit like chiropractors, you know what I mean, or like other medical practitioners, but just that you have a practice with an office and you're trying to generate leads. So a lot of the people who were interested in his online summit, they were people who were in the same situation. They were probably owners or higher ups in practices, or as well as there was like a lot of independent contractors who are trying to build up their own clientele. But so he was trying to, share ClickFunnels with them because it would help all of these people to be able to generate leads in much the same way that Dan did. So if they're looking to make a few hundred or 1,000 leads from scratch, he's trying to give them the tool to be able to do that. So I just wanted to read you his 3 emails so that you could get an idea of what one of these techniques actually looks like when it's executed. And I also thought this would be fun to show you because Dan's like a regular guy, just like you guys. He's not a marketer. So I just wanted to show you that, yes, you can use email marketing for any industry, including brick and mortar, including in-person services. They're not an online business, you guys. This is like a medical practice. So they're trying to get leads in person from this type of stuff. So with that being said, let's check it out. Let's check out the copy. It's impossible, she said. Impossible. I was on the phone with the web designer in LA that specialized in building virtual summits. 3 months is not enough time to create and launch a virtual summit, she said. I don't think I can help you unless we push the date back. The date is set already. We can't push it back. Well, then I can't be involved in the project. I'm sorry, but you'll just have to find someone else. Good luck. I put down the phone and a wave of fear, anxiety, and depression hit me all at once. I collapsed onto my bed in despair. I felt like curling up in a ball and never coming out of my apartment again. I promised Randy, that's his boss, and everyone else at the clinic that I would spearhead the launch of the Symmetry Summit, but it looked like I would have to go back, crawling back to them with my tail between my legs and give them the bad news that we wouldn't be able to do it. I was in way over my head and I had no idea what I was doing. I was a brand new therapist, fresh out of school, and just beginning to build my local practice. What did I know about virtual summits, web design, sales funnels, email autoresponders, and online marketing? Zero. And to make matters worse, guess how much interest I had in learning about them? Zero. So why did I ever agree to do this project? In order to do this right, it would take months of preparation and research before I could even get started. I needed time to research and weigh all of the options for the individual components necessary to build and launch the summit. Then I needed to learn how they worked and how to integrate them. Then I needed to build a website. And then I needed to actually promote the summit. In the midst of all of this, I also had to find and book potential speakers, interview them, and edit and upload these interviews once they were recorded. For a non-tech guy that just wanted to study anatomy and get better at treating clients, that was a lot to ask in just 90 days, especially when my interest level in the project had dropped to 0. I needed help bad, but I had nowhere to turn. They say it tends to be darkest before the dawn. Stay tuned for chapter 2. Okay, so what you're looking for when you're going to write something like this is, Russell Brunson calls it soap opera because it should just be high drama. So you'll want to notice that Dan was talking about negative emotions. People really identify with that. So anger, fear, anxiety, depression. You want to start at your low point in the first of the 3 because it makes more sense for a narrative arc that you start bad and end good than like what you're going to end good. You're going to start good and end good. Unless you're starting good and ending bad, like that could be really dramatic too. But if your story has like a happily ever after ending, I highly recommend that you start, and so does Russell, like with the down the downturn of it all, because it's also relevant to people. They can relate to that. Not everybody can relate to like having successfully put on an event and generated 1,000 leads from scratch. So you gotta tell them where you started. So this is the second email. I was on top of the world. I had just graduated from the Center for Neurosomatic Studies with a 4.0 average, and Randy Clark, my anatomy teacher and mentor, had just hired me to be the new therapist at the St. John Clark Pain Treatment Center as a reward for all of my hard work. I was all set to hit the streets, start handing out business cards, and build my practice the old-fashioned way. In my downtime, I planned to keep studying, refining my craft, and doing everything I could to be the best neurosomatic therapist I could be. Then Randy called me into his office for a meeting. I'm putting you in charge of a special project, he said. I want you to create a virtual summit on postural symmetry. The goal is to launch it by July 1st. What is a virtual summit? I really have no idea. It's your job to find out. Can you do that? I thought for a moment. Yes. Good. Get to work. I left with a smug sense of self-confidence. How much work could putting together a virtual summit be? Within the first days of preliminary research, I found out. The short answer was putting together a virtual summit was going to be a lot of work. I had no clue what I was doing, so I called up a graphics designer I had met recently to ask if she could help. She was even more clueless than I was, so she referred me to a friend of hers that specialized in building virtual summits. It looked like I was finally going to get some real help and get the ball rolling on this thing. At least that's what I thought until she gave me the bad news. 3 months was not going to be enough time to launch a virtual summit from scratch. I had hit the wall, hard. It was all on me to make the impossible happen, and to make matters worse, my interest in making it happen was dying by the minute. What was the point of all of this? Why should I bust my hump on this virtual summit thing when I could just be working on building my practice? Why should I learn about landing pages and email autoresponders when I could be learning more about physiology and biomechanics to better help my clients? Little did I know that I would soon find the answers to all of these questions in a little book that would change my life forever. Stay tuned for chapter 3 tomorrow. And finally, here is the last one. I had hit a wall with the Symmetry Summit, and to make matters worse, the project had lost all sense of meaning to me. Creating and marketing online products was not my area of expertise, and it was not how I wanted to spend my time. Maybe some of you guys can even identify with feeling like that. But I had made a promise to Randy, and again, that's his boss. I had a job to do, whether I liked it or not. I scoured the internet searching for solutions until I stumbled across a blog post by Bailey Richard. She had done an excellent job of laying out all of the components I would need in order to build and execute a virtual summit. I began to do some research, and the more I looked into ClickFunnels and its charismatic CEO, Russell Brunson, the more I realized just how powerful it was. Russell is an interesting guy, to say the least. He is an iconoclast, a Mormon from Boise, Idaho, with a big family and even bigger passion for marketing. In fact, he is a straight-up marketing nerd. ClickFunnels was much more than a tool for web design. It was a complete software suite that offered a landing page billing platform, web hosting, email automation, an affiliate program, and membership site hosting all in one. Pretty useful little bundle, but there was still more to it than that. This was not just a software suite, it was a movement. It was the flagship of a culture of online entrepreneurism that not only encouraged self-reliance and financial independence, but provided the maps and tools necessary to find and obtain it. I began reading stories from chiropractors, massage therapists, and personal trainers who all saw radical growth in their respective businesses thanks to ClickFunnels and the information provided by Russell's team. So I just wanted to point out to you what he did right here. See how I told you that being a neurosomatic therapist is like a fancy massage therapist, and how their business is very similar to, it's like a medical practice, really. They have an office and they're trying to get in-person leads. So note that when he's saying what inspired him to join ClickFunnels and to do this method of creating online sales funnels to generate leads, he highlights case studies of people who he knows are similar to the people who have joined the list, okay? Because I can tell you that Dan has definitely read way more case studies than just from these types of people. A lot of the ClickFunnels case studies are actually about online businesses and stuff like that. So I just thought that it was really smart that he pulled out these niches these labels to keep it very specific and to keep the focus on his target market. So I just want to point out to you what he did, because I thought that was really smart. I was sold. I immediately ordered a copy of Russell's book, .com Secrets, which I am passing along to you for free in the link below, and waited anxiously for it to arrive in the mail. When it arrived, I devoured its contents in a matter of hours, which I'll tell you, that was true for me. I read his other one, Expert Secrets, and I still want to read .com Secrets, and at least Expert Secrets was an extremely well-written book, very practical. So I would highly recommend checking out both of them if you want to learn more about this, how do you structure, particularly Expert Secrets. That one talks a lot about structuring narratives, structuring stories, how to make things compelling and engaging, and it's all easily applicable to doing sales copy. Just as Russell promised, the book laid out a blueprint for growing virtually any business online, all with less cost requirement than ever before in history, and all based around the scientifically tested concept of the sales funnel. And so he's giving you 2 opportunities to click out to the book, because, having one call to action is important, but if you give people multiple opportunities to click on that one call to action, you're just increasing the likelihood that they will convert. You see what I'm saying? Because there's just more opportunities for them to do it than just having one at the bottom. If you're not familiar with the concept of a sales funnel, it's essentially what happens every time you go through the drive-thru at McDonald's. You enter the McDonald's sales funnel by entering the drive-thru and ordering a burger. Then they upsell you on fries and a drink, thereby increasing their profitability by 800%. The same business model is now being applied online, and over the past couple of years, ClickFunnels has emerged to dominate the market and make designing and operating online sales funnels easier than ever. A virtual summit was just the beginning. This wasn't just a chance to make a few bucks or promote the clinic. This was a potential launching point for a whole network of online businesses. The possibilities were endless. Not only would I now be able to launch a Symmetry Summit on time and build my local practice faster than I ever could have alone, I would also have a platform that would allow me to spread the word about neurosomatic therapy and provide intense, untapped value to the masses, all while making a passive income that would allow me even more freedom to learn, travel, and hone my skills as a therapist. I had found a stone that I could kill multiple birds with. I signed up for ClickFunnels that night, and I never looked back. And now that I have successfully used it to build and launch a profitable virtual summit in just 3 months with zero experience, when the so-called experts told me that it couldn't be done, I'm absolutely positive that ClickFunnels is for real. That's why I would like to share this amazing opportunity with you by hooking you up with a free 2-week trial ClickFunnels account here. Whether you own your own business, are an independent contractor, or are simply an enthusiast looking to transition to a career in health and fitness, no matter what modality you practice, ClickFunnels is an extremely powerful tool that has the potential to exponentially grow your business. So sign up today and take a look under the hood. I know you will love it as much as I do. So like I said, I wanted to highlight this example for you because Dan, he's a regular guy. He's just a practitioner. He is super nerdy and super excited about his modality of therapy, neurosomatic therapy, which I said it's like kind of like massage therapy, but not. And I wanted to show you this because he perfectly executed this 3-part cliffhanger tactic that Nicole kind of hinted at. And Dan is not a marketer. He's not trained in marketing at all. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is because I think that this illustrates the most important lesson in copywriting that I could ever teach you. So I really hope that you can get this down, because it's not about using tricky phrases. It's not about, deceiving people into buying your stuff. The most important thing for sales copy that converts, outside of like a messaging structure that's organized in a way that makes sense, it's about being you. Most of copywriting is not about learning specific phrases and specific ways of writing. Most of copywriting is understanding how to communicate messages in a way that is compelling, but also in a way that is uniquely your own voice. And so I wanted to show you this because you don't need to be worried about like, oh, will my emails be effective? I don't have a professional copywriter. Don't worry about it, because as long as you can just hit all of the important points, what information do people need to decide to make a purchasing decision? As long as you can hit those points, the most important thing to them is that it's coming from you, Okay, so, be yourself. That is what is going to give you the most natural, high converting, flowing copy ever. All right, rich friends, now let's move on to talking about the copy examples for the autoresponders. Like I said, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to look right now at some real copy for autoresponders that I've written for clients myself. So remember when we talked about those only 3 reasons that you should be emailing somebody? It's to provide them value, to educate them about solutions to their problem, or to educate them about their problem, depending on the awareness of your market. And finally, to offer a solution to their problem, okay? So like I said, when we first went over that in the beginning, that was a little bit of a generality. So now we're going to take a look at specific copy examples so that you can understand how you can apply these concepts realistically with your own business. So this one right here is an autoresponder for a client. It's a subscription box client. I thought that you would like to know that because a lot of you guys are interested in that business model as well. So I do work with subscription box owners. And what we did for her here was simply, I call it an indoctrination series. It's a sequence of emails that happens right when the subscriber joins the list. And you'll see that she opted, I believe, for a 5-step, I call it a 5-step plus, because when you tell me you want a 5-step, you also get some extra emails on the back end, after that. But so you can just see here that this whole sequence is structured to, I'll just tell you the purpose of each individual email. I mean, they're kind of in this little title here as well, but the first email, we're going to go over specifically emails 3, 5, 6, and 7, but I just wanted to give you an overview of this whole thing. So this first one is just to get people familiar with the figure, Kim. She's the owner of this subscription box. So it's just to get them familiar with Kim. Over here, we tell them just a little bit about her expertise so that they can feel confident that the information that they're getting from her or the recipes is coming from an actual professional in the food industry, not just and I mean, if you are just like a mommy blogger or something, that, there's nothing wrong with that. But the point of what we were doing here for Kim was to establish her as an authority, because she has been working in the food industry for over 20 years. So we wanted to definitely feature that. What you really want to do on your first email is just to get people, on this one, I wanted to get them in line with her mission, that she finds it. What powers Kim with her business is that she thinks that cooking is beautiful, of course, being in the industry that she is. And she just feels like it's a shame that people don't cook as much as they used to. So what she wants to do with her subscription box is to provide it's basically Blue Apron, except a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable, especially for families on a budget, because you're not getting finished produce. You're just getting recipes and quantities. Included is a shopping list as well. And then you're just getting recipes and flavorings. So this one is another purpose of doing the first email, and you'll see this in some of the other ones that we're going to look at too, is that you want to let them know what to expect from you going forward. So you may notice this in a lot of the emails that you get too. They'll be like, oh, whitelist us in your Gmail or whatever. So I don't bother talking about whitelisting addresses, because I think that marketers are just a little bit too concerned about, if you have a huge list of like tens of thousands of people, you definitely need to be careful. But Kim only had a list of like a few hundred people, and the reason why some companies are so specific about trying to get you to whitelist their addresses is because it can really be damaging to their spam reporting. You see what I'm saying? So, but that's really only a concern with like a super huge list. So Kim doesn't have that. And if you don't either, it's definitely just enough to tell them the send name to look for, because you're probably not, sending enough email that you would be flagged as spam or something like that. So that's what the first one is for. The second one in this instance, okay, so this is not like a requirement. I'm just explaining to you how I structured this specific example. And the thing is that with every client that I work with, let's just jump to the end right now. We're going to go back and talk about the other ones. But with every client that I work with, I structure these sequences around a business goal that we have determined together. And so I think we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but it's like, what is something that keeps your business moving forward? It could be a discovery call. It could be making a sale. So for Kim, her business, her subscription box business, that key action that we want them to take by the end of this is to sign up for a plan for her subscription box. So I've constructed this whole sequence to build up to that goal. Okay. So the second one, the purpose is I'm asking people questions and I would like them to reply to her email because that creates good engagement. If you think that opens and clicks are a marker of engagement, wait till you start writing emails and you get people replying to you. And so I like to actually include that in the autoresponder. I did something similar to this for my own subscription box. What I had for the first message was that I would ask them, I'll just recap for anybody. I think maybe I talked about it in my live stream or something. So if you didn't see that, I had a subscription box called Berg Box, which we curated items that were locally made in Tampa Bay. It's called Berg Box because I live in St. Petersburg, and it mostly was from St. Petersburg, but I would pull from around Tampa Bay just to, flesh out the offerings. So what I had as my first email in my autoresponder, it was a reply back or a two-way communication, as I've called it. And I was asking them what their favorite local stores are and what their favorite local restaurants are. And so for me, the strategic purpose of doing that was so that I could and like I said, it was in my autoresponder sequence. It was the first email that went out to people. You'd really be surprised how many people replied to me. But I probably got hundreds of replies just from that one email. And you can see that it's pretty strategic because I'm having an automated influx of new ideas, of new vendors that I should check out to partner with for my company. So if you're going to do something like this where you want to do like a reply back, it's a good idea. It helps you with engagement. And so you could just try to think of a question that would help you gather. It also helps you build a relationship with people, and especially when you reply back to them and they can see that you're a real person. So yeah, you just would want to think maybe of a question that would help you get some type of relevant information for your business. This one, remember our 3 reasons. This one is giving value, okay? And so I do recommend having a click out at the bottom of every single one of your emails. And I didn't write it in this copy. Like this is obviously the draft. I don't like have permission to show you her MailChimp account. You see what I'm saying? So we're just looking at the drafts here. So I've changed it a little bit since what we're seeing, but the overall structure is the same, and like my thought process behind everything was the same. But for this one, we added a click out to her to sign up for a plan, because remember, we decided that that's the goal. The goal for this email sequence is that we want people to sign up for one of her subscription box plans. So I am into experimenting between, you can give value as a click out, but sometimes I like to give value in email so that it doesn't necessarily require a click out, just because when you're asking for somebody to click out, you're asking them to give you something. And so when you give it to them in the body of the email, it's a little bit more of like, instead of asking them for something, you're giving them something. So like I said, that's why I wanted to structure it. And the purpose of this one is to give value. Okay, let's talk about the purpose of these other 2 for a second. This one is about educating them about the solution. Okay, we haven't really dove super deep, but since this is the first email, we obviously haven't dove super deep into what exactly their problems are. But we can assume that minimally, people who are coming onto this list are probably interested in like spicing up the variety of meals that they eat every week and stuff. So this one is just educating them a little bit about the solution that we have, as well as telling them what to expect in the future from our other emails, okay? And so for this one, I would say that this one is about giving value. And the reason why I say that a reply back is giving value, because it's building a relationship with you as the figure. And people really like that, don't you feel happy when Nicole like singles you out and she makes a post and like tags your name, or like if you happen to get a phone call from Nicole or something like that? So it might seem a little bit counterintuitive that like making a connection with somebody is giving value, but humans are relationship driven animals, so you really are, they enjoy it. It's not like you're bothering them or anything like that. This one here, again, is about educating them about the solution to the problem, and it also is helping them to identify with Kim a little bit more. And again, none of these have the clickouts at the bottom. Oh no, okay, this one does. So like some of them where I didn't do a text link, I added the click through to the bottom later. Now we're here at 5. Okay, and so remember I said that she got a 5-step email autoresponder from me, but look, this is 5 already, right? So down here, that's 2 emails extra than 5. So when you work with me and we do an autoresponder together, not only do I structure them incredibly well and make sure that there is a great progression of narrative of delivering the information to the client, or to your client, you know what I mean? Client facing is what you call it when they're like, if you and me are sending an email to them that they're gonna read, so that's like client facing. But so not only is that all gonna be taken care of, but just like in my lessons, I do go above and beyond, and I try to knock everything that I do out of the park, including my professional work. So when you're getting a 5-step autoresponder from me, it's not actually a 5-step autoresponder. It's a 5. I call it like a 5+ step, I guess. But yes, so now let's talk about email 5, which I lost. Here it is. Again, what is the purpose of this one? This one is about educating them about the problem and about the solution kind of at the same time. And so what I mean when you email someone for these 3 reasons: to provide value, to educate about solutions to the problem, or to educate about the problem and to offer a solution to their problem, that is a little bit different than what we discuss when we say like you should have one goal. So like for this email, the one goal is for them to click on this link and that link. I'm pretty sure that they're all the same. This one, there was a shit ton of text and the only link that is down there. So the whole purpose of this is to make them feel like, wow, I gave them, I really enjoyed that story, and Kim is obviously an expert, and so let's click through and see what she's all about. So it's a little bit different that this overall email we may have 2 like reasons for emailing the list with this one, but it's only one goal. So that's the distinction. The only one goal is to get them to click out to that domain, okay? And so even in some of these where you're seeing that there's several hyperlinks, often I'm just making them to the same pages, because we've already decided that the only thing that we care about from this whole sequence is getting people to sign up for the plan. And then so then you may say to yourself, wait a second, Jamie, you just said that you only need one, like you can only have one goal, but why do you have a second call to action here, like a second click out link? And so this one obviously doesn't go out to the same page. Well, the reason is that we made up this little flavor crate challenge. It's called a conditional guarantee. So instead of being like, if you don't like it, return it and we'll refund your money, what we're saying here is, if you don't like it, cook 2 dishes side by side, send us a picture, and if you still find the store-bought brand better after doing the Flavor Crate Challenge, we'll refund your money with no questions asked. Okay, so the purpose of the whole email, even though we're kind of like there's a few different components to it, overall, all of these functions are working together for the one goal to get people to sign up for the list. And so even down here where we're talking about like using hashtags or whatever, we're briefly discussing Instagram. Note that I don't link out to Instagram, okay? It's just a little bit of if people wanted to join in on the discussion on social, that we should direct them to how we want them to do it instead. Because look, when you have a standardized hashtag like this, then you can control the conversation and you can make sure that all of these social proof posts are going in the same location, instead of like, if you don't specify a hashtag or anything like that, then you could just have people making up their own hashtags and like it would be all over the place. And it versus this setup that you could have and you can have special Instagram feeds on your website that like track a specific hashtag. So like she could put on her website one of these things that is tracking hashtag Flavor Crate Challenge, and then it could automatically update on her website with all of the new pictures posted under this hashtag. But it just gives new clients, or, you know, I don't know, anybody who's never looked at this, but it just gives like new people a single point of contact to find that information instead of having people be all over the place. So for these blue ones in the email, it's actually a link. It's actually almost the same link as this one. This one goes out to just their plain subscribe page, but the ones down here that I only wrote in light blue text, they're different. They're hyperlinks. Excuse me. They're hyperlinks in the email, but these ones just click out to the checkout with a coupon. So let's talk about 6 and 7. 6 and 7 are both emails that you might want to consider tacking on to the end of any of your autoresponder sequences, and especially if you're structuring it the way that we talked about. So the way that we talked about doing it is that you would have this aspect first, like these would be the first 7 emails, and then you have this 7 do you hate me email. You would get the response from that. Then it can roll into your 10 5 to 10 frequently asked questions. Then you can have the next 5 to 10 emails are your should ask questions. Then your next 5 to 10 emails are, either you've invented them with those prompts that we talked about earlier, or you have looked at your previous emails to find ones that are good performing. And all of this really depends on like how many FAQs were you able to brainstorm, and like how many previous emails have you actually sent? How many previous emails have actually been super, super good? Like, so if you only have, you can only brainstorm like 5 FAQs, but you've had an active email list for like 3 years and you have a decent group, of good previous reacting material, then you could have slightly less FAQs and slightly more previous like good material. But let's say that you just got so excited from our lesson together today that you went and started your email list from scratch right now. Well, look, obviously, since you just made the list, you don't have previous content to go off of. So you're going to need to be brainstorming, need to be doing more of these prompts, need to be trying harder to brainstorm a lot of FAQ questions and a lot of should ask questions, okay? So anyway, so these 6 and 7 emails, these are ones that I think that anybody could incorporate and should incorporate at the end. And remember, our goal is that you want to make an autoresponder that has 15 to 30 individual emails in it. And if you have like 30, you want them to go out daily. And if you have 15, you want them to go out like in, MailChimp, the trigger would be like 2 days after the the recipient got the previous email. So, sorry, with that being said, I'm still trying to talk about 6 and 7. Just have so many ideas that I want to share with you guys. So yes, these ones you can use in any type of autoresponder, because what you want to do is some of you guys have been messaging me and you have some great product ideas. You're like, oh, Jamie, I think about maybe putting together a cookbook for these recipes that I have put together. Do you think that would be a good idea? Or, oh, Jamie, I want to put together a stock market newsletter. Do you think that would be a good idea? Jamie, I want to put together a guide on how you can set up Samcart and I want to charge $20 for that. Do you think that that's a good idea? So instead of me telling you yes or no to those individual things, here's the difference between like a marketer and a copywriter. A marketer is going to tell you, yeah, sounds great, or no, sounds dumb. Well, a copywriter, I'm going to tell you the truth. Ask your list. I'm the wrong person to ask, honestly. You need to be asking the people who you're engaged with. So that's what 6 is all about. And where it says course A, B, C, you would just blurb out your little ideas there. You could even, like, at this part where it has a dash and a description, that was just for me, but you could put like, vegan cookbook dash, we're gonna focus on using regular grocery store items so that you could have a healthy vegan diet without having to go to any specialty health food stores. Like, so that people could have maybe a little bit more context on the full idea. But so this one says I have some other free content you might be interested in, but this one you could just be like, I hope you enjoyed and got a lot of the last few emails I've sent you. I had a quick question for you. What else are you interested in? Just click the link below and let me know what other topics you're interested in. I can send you free guides and other materials for these categories or something like that. But in MailChimp, the reason why I say that these are all links in this little parentheses here is because in MailChimp, like, it integrates with a lot of complicated things like Google Forms and stuff like that, and SurveyMonkey. You could put together a survey like that if you want, but MailChimp also has a simple capability for like link-based surveys, pretty much. I'll have to, if I can find it, I might want to, like I said, I was thinking about putting together like a show notes or something for you guys, so maybe I will try to find the directions on how to do this. What is this? Like, maybe we can find it together. You can add polls. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is what I mean. So it like basically appears like a hyperlink, even though you're formatting it like slightly differently. Here. So that's what it like looks like when you type it in. And I'll link this too so that you can look at it in more detail. And also tell me, what other email marketing software are you using? Because if you're not using MailChimp, I would be happy to help you locate directions on how you can do something similar in whatever your software is. So just pop in the comments and let me know what other software you're using if you want my help trying to find directions or something like that. But yeah, so like that's why it says in this one, all links, and why I made them blue, because I knew that in MailChimp it was going to be displaying like that. Finally, we have number 7, Do You Hate Me? And so this one is a rip directly from the Ask method by Ryan Levesque. Again, Ask, A-S-K by Ryan Levesque. I've been talking about that book a lot. That's because if you are curious about, how specifically, how can you ask questions and how can you set up a system of surveys to collect information from your market without you having to be actively searching, that it's just, new info rolling into you all the time, you definitely want to check out Ask. And I just wanted to let you guys know, I'm actually Ask Method certified. I took the online masterclass by Ryan Levesque. Thank you to my mentor, Kevin Rogers, for donating the course to me. But so if you wanted to have more professional help setting a system like this up in your business, I am actually Ask Method certified as well. So the purpose of this number 7 is that, I'll just read it to you. Hey, Lisa, it's gonna be Lisa. I need you to be honest with me. Did we not do a good job of explaining something? Did we not cover a specific topic that you're really dying to know about? What's the single biggest reason you decided not to try the product, your product, okay? Was it something I said, something I didn't say, or do you just hate me? Please click here and tell me what was the number one reason why you decided not to try Flavor Crate. So the purpose of this email is for anybody who didn't convert. Just because they didn't, opt into making a purchasing decision with us, that doesn't mean that they don't still have useful information to tell us. And honestly, that also does not mean that they're uninterested in your product. Potentially, all it means is that somebody, if somebody went through your systems and they didn't buy, it could just mean that you didn't tell them what they wanted to hear or what they were expecting to hear. So it's not even necessarily that they don't like your product or they don't like you or they don't want it. Sometimes you just haven't presented the information to them in a way that makes the solution resonate with them. And so the purpose of this "Do you hate me" email is to capture exactly that information. So I just wanted to show you guys this real quick. I did a cool interview with Kim, actually, and so when you work with me, this is something that we can do together. I do an interview with you so that you have a totally hands-off copy experience and that I can have, my style of copy, as I said earlier, it's text-based, but it's also, very specific. I would never want to describe something as Flavor Crate. Well, let's look at a real example. Okay, let me, where's this number 5? All right, so you could say, or a non-copywriter might say, my business is a Flavor Crate. What we do is we put together a curated collection of spices and we send it to you every month. All right. So not that that's bad, but it definitely could be better. And so here's what I mean when I say, as a copywriter, I believe in being extremely specific as possible, okay? So let's just take a look at how I described, and like I said, you see this interview that I did with Kim. It's 9 pages. And how that translates into specific sales copy is like this. At my family spicery, I relentlessly experiment with amazing ingredients to create the most delicious seasonings possible. I scour the earth for the best tasting spices. I know just what combinations will make the tastiest mouthfuls to snack on. I'll send you 3 ounces of the most delicious natural seasonings you've ever had. Every seasoning in your Flavor Crate is ruthlessly hand-selected by me, and I promise you, McCormick does not have higher standards than I do. You get a featured spice, which changes monthly, a handcrafted seasoning blend, and a delicately infused herbal sea salt in every Flavor Crate. Each bag is filled by hand, so month-to-month quantities are variable, but you'll get 3 to 5 ounces of amazingly fresh spices in each Flavor Crate. Your health is directly impacted by the food you eat, so it's my mission to keep all of the Flavor Crate seasonings filler-free, coloring-free, and 100% no chemicals. No added chemicals. These are unadulterated spices, people. I really do pride myself on the attention to detail to every single piece of Flavor Crate. I am personally involved in every step of the process, from creating new formulas to packaging and shipping. But don't just take my word for it. Blah, blah. This is about taking the Flavor Crate challenge, but then it's I'll send you 3+ ounces of the best damn dinner you've ever had at no cost to you. If you cover the cost of shipping, I'll send 1 Flavor Crate straight to your home ASAP. So I just wanted to show you another, maybe I can find a second one where I described it as, well, honestly, look at even how when I say be specific, look at how much more specific even my 3 bullet points plus this one top sentence are than remember what I said initially? Flavor Crate, it's a curated box of spices. You get 3 and I send you 1 every month. Okay, so even these 3 bullet points are significantly more detailed than that. Inside each Flavor Crate, you get 3 to 5 ounces of the highest quality cooking spices available. 1 monthly hand-selected featured spice to get really friendly with, 1 small batch spice blend to kick it up a notch, and a fine 100% unprocessed sea salt or all-natural herbal infused sea salt to get the perfect finish. What you'll never find is added colors, MSG, preservatives, shelf stabilizers, or any other gross, unnecessary chemicals here. Just pure flavor. So that is my lesson to you. If there's, outside of be yourself, the number 1/2 lesson I could impart on you is to be as specific as possible. So don't say that, this is my recipe book with vegan recipes. No, you want to tell them, this is my vegan recipe book. It's got 25 recipes in there. It's 128 pages. I don't know if that's an appropriate number of pages for 25 recipes, but it seems maybe like a lot. But you want to tell them, we've got... Also, what type of recipes does it have? Because some types of cookbooks only have entree recipes, whereas some, like the Julia Child, like Mastering the Art of French Cooking cookbook, that one is divided into sections that you have like appetizers, breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, sauces. You need to distinguish your product in as many ways as possible. And what I mean by distinguish is that you need to describe it so that you can set it apart from everything else, okay? So that is reviewing Kim's autoresponder sequence. Now, let's take a look at another one. This one is for my client, Robin. This one, she's a professional trainer, like a corporate trainer. So she works with a pretty cool company called Brew Your Skills. She also has her own private practice, but this was a project for BYS. And what they do is they will do, I don't know if any of you, Nicole has had a corporate job, so I'm sure that some of you other guys have had corporate jobs before as well. They want you to do sales trainings and all of this stuff. And it's usually really lame. Like you are sitting in a room with like 20 or 30 people. All your bosses are there. Maybe your boss's boss is there, and you feel really nervous because you don't want to, speak up, or you'll say something that could be stupid, and you don't want everybody to feel. It's a really stressful thing. So what they try to do at BYS is turn that on its head. So this one was another 5-step for. It was a 5-step for them. I just was curious if maybe I linked they had like a promo video, and I don't remember if I linked it out or not. But so this one, the purpose of this whole autoresponder is to get them to schedule a discovery call with them. Sorry, I'm just curious if I can show you their promo video so that you can get a better idea of what exactly they do. Because I was thinking, I described what they do in their copy, obviously, but at the same time, I think it would be a little bit more succinct if I showed you their promo video.
I learned so much. It was great.
I thought I was going to come into this thinking that I knew 90% of the material that was going to be covered, and I learned quite a bit.
What is that closing ratio from presentation to close? Because if you can land 1 and 2, 1 and 3, you're going to be on fire. And that's what I'm here to talk about today.
When you're having a blast, it's just very different than just going to your typical corporate event. We want to mix it up and have a good time with our companies, and the employees just love it.
I can't do this anymore. And they're like, you worked out for 11 minutes. And I'm like, no, I know, I was impressed too. But
at Brew Your Skill, we like to change the pace by introducing a couple drinks to let everybody just relax and not feel like it's such a overwhelming training. And more importantly, we bring in laughter. We bring in some of the best comedians to kick off the event and ensure that you have a great time and you're ready to sit back and appreciate the new skill.
The humor involved, and there's laughter, and you can relax, and you can have fun, and you can have a drink, and you can be real.
that means I sold hearing aids over the telephone. Yeah, complain about your job. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think it was a very creative approach, and I have many friends in many different businesses, and I will tell them about this. I thought it was very interesting.
I've just always experienced that whenever somebody facilitates a skill, people always open their mind way more when they're laughing, enjoying themselves, and engaging with the facilitator.
Thank you guys very much for being here. enjoy the rest of your night.
Cheers.
All right, perfect. So that's what they do. They try to take boring standard corporate training and make it more exciting by using comedians, by bringing in some drinks. So it's a really interesting concept that they have. I kind of just wanted to overview this whole sequence with you because there's so many good things going on here. This first one, I think instead of letting them know what to expect, I mean, it does let them know a little bit at the end, but the purpose of this one was actually to get them to identify to self-identify with the messaging that we're putting out. These emails were distributed to a list of a few thousand decision makers in companies. So it's like, sales executives, it's the C-suite level people, HR representatives as well, and whoever really is responsible for scheduling the training for teams. So I think that I really just want to read these through to you because I'm sorry if it's a little bit tedious to do that, but I'm not going to read maybe all 18 pages. I might pick like one or two, but I just want you to see how the copy fits together in one message as well as how they fit together as a system. So this one, we're trying to get them to self-identify with what we're teaching, okay? So it says, hey, Lisa, if you're a leader in your organization, this is for you. It's very challenging to be a leader. I know that. When you are the leader, you have to be the big man or woman in every situation. Sometimes everything is going great, but when you're not meeting your KPIs, then all eyes are on you. Every great business leader I've met has an even bigger priority than just delivering, as important as that is. Great leaders put their employees at number one. Isn't that true for you? I'm sure you want the players on your team to be successful. You want to push them to their full potential to grow. When a great player is suddenly underperforming, you listen to them, help them, and plan a path to get back on track. You can't create a team that hits the mark every time without investing in your people. Your company may spend lots of time and spend big money on training that is so boring and so far removed from your everyday that you aren't seeing any return on investment at all. Old training methods are broken. They don't work anymore. Think about the last corporate training event you attended, for example. What do you remember about it? Exactly, not much. And why would you? The training on the market today is boring and flat out ineffective. Nothing can replace the electricity in the room when passionate people group up, get in the same room, and focus with single-minded laser precision on crushing the same goal. I set out to capture that magic, to create the most engaging training in the world. Create a proven, action-oriented training system that actually moves the needle on your key performance measures and is fun. I know, it's a big goal. But yes, that finally exists now, thanks to Brew Your Skill. At Brew Your Skill, we take great comedians, sprinkle in a few beers, and mix it together with our top-of-the-line research-backed training programs. It's our recipe for success. We want to keep your team laughing, engaged, and relaxed because you know what? People learn the best when they're having fun. When you're having a blast, it's a completely different learning experience. When people are learning a skill, people open their minds and learn way more when they're laughing and interacting with the facilitator. What skills do we teach? Schedule a 15-minute discovery call with us. Click here and find out how Brew Your Skill can help you. I know you're busy, so schedule a lightning-fast discovery call with us on your own time. We've got some awesome value-packed emails heading your way over the next few weeks, so keep your eyes out for your sender name. You can also email questions you have to me, Robin, here, and so that's your email address. So great. This one, back to our three main reasons. Are you giving value? Are you educating them about their problem? Or are you educating them about a solution to their problem? So this one right here, this is giving them value. She created a PDF guide on figuring out what your individual team members are motivated by. So I'm sure you can see how that's super helpful for a boss, for a leader, for somebody who needs to be in charge of a team. There's one where I incorporate a lot of data, and I wanted to read through that one with you, so I just was trying to see if that was that one. Okay, so it's not that one. We'll briefly overview this one, and then I'll read you the next one. This one, what I was trying to do is to educate them about the solution to their problem. It takes you through it. Well, first it's like, oh, see what other people are saying about it. It's not your ordinary classroom experience. It's telling you how this solution is different from the others and how it's like not lame. It's explaining to them the fact that they have a comedian who is essentially like an MC, like if you've been to conferences or something, the comedian is going to be that, point person, that announcer who is going to be helping transition the facilitator between topics and break the ice in between. Well, they like open it up, you know what I mean? But then they also help with the transitions and stuff like that between activities as well. So that's a little bit different in this, like their structure of corporate training. So that's why I thought that it was important to explain that, because that's something that sets them apart from their competitors, right? Then we go more into detail about what types of skills they cover, and you'll see that I'm pretty sure in this email that there's multiple calls to action to schedule an event. And then it just goes through the process of what it's like to go, the whole day. Like, okay, we have a networking event at the beginning, and then we have a kickoff, and then the comedian and the facilitator do things, and then you have an exercise, and then you're going to do another group activity, and then blah, 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 blah. So it's just like telling them, helping them to picture in their minds, first off, how much fun this is going to be, but also it's I'm trying to convey to the person on the other side of this message how much work they put into these events, because here where it says your facilitator will introduce at least 3 tools that your team can use for the skill that's being taught, and then there's some mentions of events like group activities and stuff like that. These are all created by the facilitator for each individual presentation. So it's not something that they just have a bunch of exercises sitting around. Like, they're creating all of this stuff for the individual. So you can see, I just was looking. I have several calls to action to schedule this call. This one, I use the PS a lot more liberally than I did in some of the other ones that we're going to look at. And so again, the PS is a good place to have a catch-all. If you want to include a link out to whatever that call to action you want it to be, perfect. That's a perfect place to do this. Okay, so this one I wanted to read to you because I incorporate a lot of data onto this. This one is educating the prospect about their problem in a weird way, but it's also kind of telling them about the solution at the same time. But I thought that it would be cool for me to read through this to you because I incorporate a lot of data and statistics in a way that's actually, it's not dense, you know what I mean? But I thought that it was cool that I was able to incorporate so much research. These are the research that I mentioned. It's like materials provided to me by the client, so that's why I wanted to use it. But also, business people respond to evidence, and business people respond definitely to numbers. I'm sure that Nicole can tell you that from her corporate experience, that her HR at the company or whoever is responsible for scheduling corporate training, I'm sure that they want to know, how are you going to guarantee ROI? How do we know that this is going to be a positive value for us? And so Nicole can tell you that this type of presentation would make a corporation elated that we could quantify what exactly the results are, okay? Hey, Lisa, I know what you're thinking to yourself. A company training event that actually gets results and it's fun, and I can justify it to my CFO? Hogwash. Sounds too good to be true, right? I understand, but I'm going to break it down for you and show you exactly why that's wrong and how you can justify investing in training your team members. Number 1, how does BYS ensure that I will get results? At Brew Your Skill, we are 100% committed to your team's success. We know that we can get you results because our entire process is designed to identify and overcome your biggest bottlenecks. The training provided for your team actually comes from a curriculum that we custom create for you. Your facilitator probably spends 4 to 6 weeks on average performing research and preparing your curriculum before you've ever even seen it. All of our curriculums are designed from scratch to present tools and systems that will truly move the needle on your key performance measures. But we are so invested in getting you results that in addition to having your very own teacher who will custom create the perfect curriculum for your team, that we also do a complimentary ROI assessment. About 4 weeks after your BYS event, you will have a custom report detailing the impact that your skills training has had on your business. We also have extra features like webinars and team calls that you can add on so that your team can get extra support even after your BYS event. Number 2, who cares if the training is fun? For one, your employees care. But the real secret to why we work so hard to incorporate fun and laughter into our training is because it absolutely superpowers the learning process. That may sound like salesy junk, but here's the neuroscience way to say that. A common theme in brain research is that superior cognitive input to the executive function networks is more likely when stress is low and learning experiences are relevant to students. Lessons that are stimulating and challenging are more likely to pass through the reticular activating system, a filter in the lower brain that focuses attention on novel changes perceived in the environment. Judy Willis. At Brew Your Skill, we pride ourselves on offering only the highest quality training. That means teaching skills and using principles that are backed by scientific research. There are a few other reasons that fun and learning are such a perfect combination. The pressure to quote-unquote perform actually interferes with new learning. Peter Gray, a research professor in the Department of Psychology at Boston College, explains how researchers design experiments to test this hypothesis in his book, Free to Learn. An easy way to apply pressure to perform well in a research study is to observe and evaluate the performance in a way that is obvious to the performer. Dozens of experiments have shown that such pressure worsens performance in those who are not yet highly skilled at a task or who are just beginning with it. Whether it's pool, math, or just coming up with a clever joke, the research is clear. Pressure to perform shuts down the brain's ability to learn. The pressure to quote-unquote be creative actually interferes with creativity. Dr. Gray explains an experiment performed by psychologist Teresa Amabile. She would ask groups of people to do a creative task, paint a picture, make a collage, or write a poem within a certain time period. Each experiment involved some sort of manipulation aimed at increasing the participants' motivation. She would tell some, but not others, that their product would be judged, evaluated, and ranked for creativity. When the projects were completed, she would have them all evaluated for creativity by a panel of judges who did not know about the experimental manipulations. The judges showed significant consistency in their evaluations, even though quote-unquote creativity may be hard to define. The result was clear. Anything that put more pressure on being creative actually led to less creative results when compared to people who were just doing the activity for fun. For fun, meaning that they were not told that they were going to be evaluated in any way. Feeling playful increases creativity and problem-solving ability. Another type of problem that psychologists study are insight problems. Dr. Gray defines insight problems as problems that require some kind of creative leap which allows the person to see the problem differently than before. Wouldn't that be a useful business skill? Here's the experiment, which was performed by psychologist Alice Eisen. In this task, research participants are given a small candle, a book of matches, and a box of tacks. They are asked to attach the candle to a bulletin board in a way that the candle can be lit and will burn properly. They are allowed to use no objects other than those they are given. The trick to solving the problem is to realize that the tacks can be dumped out of the box and the box can be tacked to the bulletin board and used as a shelf to mount the candle on. In the typical test situation, most people, including students at elite colleges, fail to solve this problem within the allotted time period. Dr. Gray goes on to explain that the control group only 13 to 20% of the people are able to solve the problem at all. So in Dr. Eisen's variable group, the participants watched a 5-minute clip of slapstick comedy before hearing about the candle problem. So think like Monty Python or something. Just 5 minutes of a silly video that doesn't have anything to do with problem solving. It has nothing to do with the candle exercise. The participants haven't even heard of the candle exercise at this point. The result was dramatic. 75% of the experimental group were able to solve the problem successfully. Those are some truly serious results. Your team will leave your BYS training engaged and with a full expert understanding of the material. Number 3, how fun is it? I could sit here and tell you more about all of the elbow grease we put into making your event a home run for your team, but I want you to see this amazing style of instruction with your own eyes. And so the promo video is that one that we watched on YouTube earlier, and then has your face ever lit up like that at a company training? Do you even remember smiling that much in your last development course? Okay. I gotta have this. What can I tell my CFO? First off, I want to assure you that you can expect to pay about what you've paid in the past for your corporate events. All of these extra bells and whistles may sound like extra zeros being added to the price tag, but we truly strive to offer an amazing experience that nobody else can beat for the same price as our competitors. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. In fact, you can click here and schedule a quick 15-minute call with me personally, and I will get you an accurate quote in 2 business days or less. We're very transparent, and you'll have everything you need in this proposal to make an informed decision, including payment amounts, schedules, what the location will be, information about the beer and food, and more. You'll have all of the details spelled out for you in an easy-to-reference proposal. But there's something even more important that your CFO needs to know. If you look around at your company's meetings, what do the faces of your employees look like? If they are bored, apathetic, or disengaged, that is a death sentence for employee retention. Your CFO will know that employee retention is a mega budget killer. Gallup estimates that disengaged employees cost U.S. companies $450 to $550 billion in lost productivity every year. An alarming 70% of employees in the U.S. don't come to work committed to delivering their best performance. That has a serious implication for your bottom line. Of those 70%, more than half, 52%, are not engaged, and 18% are actively disengaged. If you are not actively searching for ways to keep your employees engaged, then you are suffering losses from disengagement. The key to protect your company from disengagement is to actively create an amazing company culture. But the easiest way might actually be to offer professional training. A tiny pulse study showed that employees with access to internal or external professional development were 10% more likely to stay with their current employer. Professional development isn't just a nice to have, it is a need to have. So please be proactive. Schedule a lightning fast call with me here, and let's figure out how to get your team these professional development opportunities. You can also shoot me an email, blah, blah, other questions, blah. Okay, so perfect. I just wanted to read that through to you because I wanted you to understand how I'm positioning. This is not corporate training. And I mean, I know that I used a lot of data in here, but it's not just corporate training. It's a remedy. It's a remedy to something that costs $450 to $550 billion. Wow. How much would you pay to save $450 billion? Would you pay $10,000? Would you pay $10 million? Might you even pay $10 billion? So that's a great copywriting lesson right here is being aware of what you're comparing yourself to. And so some of us, I know we're in like nutrition niches or we're in like professional development niches. So, you know, here I'm correlating it to a dollar value. With health, like, or nutrition, anything like that, fitness, you also can correlate it to dollars. You should look up like the average cost of treating type 2 diabetes or something like that. And so you can write messages around, you know, not only is being sick horrible, but it's also expensive. And sometimes, honestly, people respond more to expensive and this will save you money than they respond to, hey, you're gonna die if you don't do this, as evidenced by how many like overweight people we maybe have in the country. But oh yeah, and then for the, you know, you could even do a same thing for the personal development or us life coaches out there, because there is a dollar value associated with like the average cost of therapy per year or the average cost of having medications per year. And I'm fairly sure that your training might not be as expensive as some of those options, but I definitely want you to be careful because you shouldn't necessarily say that you're better than professionals, especially like talking right now about medical. Like if you're a life coach, you definitely shouldn't say that you're more effective than these types of things, but what you can say is that you're definitely cheaper, and that doesn't mean that you can't get results either, but treating a long-term chronic illness can be incredibly expensive. So finally, I just wanted to flip you through this one real quick. Now, this one unfortunately uses a little bit more of a template than I want, but it's not so bad. They just have this banner at the top and a footer, like a header and a footer. I don't do any headers in my emails, and I do a footer with link outs. Footers are pretty chill, but I don't have all of this address information there. I took it out because first off, I have it online, like location independent business, so it doesn't really matter. But also it just takes off a few kilobytes for your messages so that it doesn't get snipped by Google. Remember, we said that if your message is bigger than 102 kilobytes, it gets cut off. So this one, we decided that the ultimate goal for this email autoresponder sequence was to have people book an appointment. This company is like Rent-A-Crate. They're called ReadyBox, but it's the same type of thing. It's like plastic storage bins that you can move with and stuff like that. So the reason why we have this as the first email is because I actually made them 3 separate sequences depending on how soon out it would be that the person would be moving. So people kind of got different emails depending on when they were moving, but what we're going to look at is this is the funnel for you're currently moving now. So this one is just a little bit about giving value. It's about self-identifying. They're based out of Chicago. So this one is about making a connection with the people who are reading the email. You know, they have this cute little picture of their crates by the Chicago skyline. So I thought that was a great asset to use. So I created this little message around there because I don't know, for whatever reason, like people in Chicago is one of those cities that has a city identity, you know what I mean? So they're like super hype about that. So I definitely thought that would be a good idea to do. This one is pretty interesting. This one is educating them about, I would say, about solutions to their problem. But what this is it's not it's not positive like, oh, we're telling you how great ReadyBox is. It's negative. It's we're telling you how bad something else is. So this one is a moving horror story, which, as you can see, it's conveniently written by Lisa, so you can figure that actually I wrote this. But what I did to create this is I looked up like other reviews of other. We talked about this, I think, in our live stream. I'm pretty sure, and maybe I thought I mentioned it in this video too. But I used reviews like we talked about. I was looking for user-generated data. So what I did is I was looking on Yelp at some of their other competitors for Chicago movers, and I was able to pull out details from 1-star reviews, and I kind of weaved together a couple of stories into one like mega horrible story. So I wanted to I'll read it. I'm sorry if this is a little bit, I hope that it's not tedious. Like, I'm reading it to you because I assume that you would like to hear the nitty-gritty of how I'm making the flow of this copy in the individual message, because, you know, I'm trying to go high level. I'm trying to talk to you about the system and how I'm assembling the system and everything, but I want you to understand, like, I just want you to really hear and synthesize my style of copy so that you can understand this aspect of like being specific in your copy, as specific as possible, using emotions, painting a picture for people. So I just wanted to read this one to you real quick. My move is an experience I never want to relive. I had been searching for a step up in my career for months. I was living in Buffalo Grove, that's one of the neighborhoods that they service, at the time, and I didn't want to leave the area, but it was touch and go for a while, and I was searching nationwide. Finally, after looking forever, I was able to find my dream job, and it was right in Chicago. So it's moving day. My family and I packed our house up into a mountain of cardboard boxes, and we were ready to go. You know who wasn't ready to go? The movers. They were like 3 hours late at this point. I just remember pacing across my kitchen, calling and calling them. Finally, the movers did come, but not after it started downpouring. We were expecting them 3 hours earlier, so all of our boxes were stacked outside and getting drenched. I asked the movers, but they assured me this was no problem, and they whisked our boxes into their truck. My family and I got into our car and followed them to our new building. The movers got there maybe 15 minutes before we did, so they had already started unpacking by the time we got there. Of course, I was bouncing off the walls with anticipation. I couldn't wait to see our new apartment, but while I was heading up the stairs, I heard a strange sound behind me, like a wet rip. And I turned around to see my mother's antique china crashing down the stairs. I had to run down the landing to start picking up shards of china when I heard another rip. Apparently, it was a box of stuff from my son's room because I got clocked in the head with his soccer trophy. If starting a new job isn't stressful enough, try starting a new job and explaining a black eye to your new boss. Want your next move to go off without a hitch? Click here to get the only boxes secure enough to move everything you own straight to your doorstep. Ready boxes are waterproof, stackable, and even have comfort grip handles to get your family heirlooms and favorite mugs to your new home in one piece. Look, I don't want to see this kind of accident happen to anyone. If anyone you know is moving, click below to share the story and save their next move. They'll thank you, trust us. And then I have these social share icons down here. This one was another one where I am educating about the solutions to the problem. And again, I went with the same idea. Instead of being positive, like, oh, beating our chest, Ready Box is so awesome and all that type of stuff, instead, I want to keep people focused on, people hate uncertainty. And especially if they're uncertain, but the only points of reference they have in their minds are negative. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to create like a suspiciousness to other moving companies in the area. So this one says that they, a customer called them and complained, and one of their competitors folded their mattress down the midline and wrapped it up like super, super tight, and so the springs are all ruined now. A chip dresser is one thing, but what was done to that mattress was deliberate and negligent. If you're like me and you don't choose to pay another $300 for insurance, you end up feeling really angry. I think that kind of behavior is sickening. So I'm trying to elicit strong emotions by using those words. This one is some social proof. This one I pulled off a good review from their, they have a ton of good reviews on their Yelp, honestly, but it has the call to action there for them to book their appointment, and it is just a little bit of social proof. I found this 5-star asset that kind of reminded me of Yelp online, so I added that there, and this is cool. I linked it out to their Yelp page, like in the email. I'm not like I said, they have a bunch of good reviews, so I just pulled out a good one to feature, like a long one. I was looking for a long and a detailed one, so that's why I picked this one. But yeah, like I said, you can see here, I did stress text-based only emails, but this is text-based enough for me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I took off the banner images at a certain point, the header, but you can see that I have this little graphic here, and I have this little photo here of a guy stacking some boxes for social proof, but this is actually Bobby. That's not a customer. So, but honestly, nobody knows that. So it just looks like he could be Charlie Thomas, who I made up Charlie Thomas's name as well. But this is a real review. So, it's just from their Yelp page. And then, finally, they got this email, which, you you would be amazed. This stupid email with a moving checklist, this has a 25% click-through rate. So if you want a high click-through rate, sometimes what's preventing you from doing that is that you are maybe not in tune enough with your market's needs, and you just don't understand what it is that they need to have right now. Because when you do make the content upgrade properly, like this one, they obviously were into having a moving checklist. And I mean, they were digging it. We had got a 25% click-through on that. So they liked it a lot. And all I did for this one is, for this moving checklist, I like looked up 1 billion moving checklists, and then I combined them all into a Google Doc. And then actually what I did is this image, I just took a screenshot from my computer of the top of the Google Doc or whatever. And so that's what I used as a click-through to that. And then again, we were trying to get them to do to go to a residential order form. So that's why that hyperlink is in there as well. Whew! All right, rich friends, thank you so much for sticking through all of this information with me. I know that this really turned out to be an extremely long lesson, but there's really just so much that I have to teach you about email marketing. Copywriting is my area of expertise, but setting up email marketing and automated systems, that's my true passion. So, I mean, there's so many things that I really wasn't even able to cover with you today. So believe it or not, I actually had a much longer outline, and I wound up cutting a lot of stuff from it, and it still is like a 2-hour lesson. So again, I really, really appreciate you sticking with me. There's so much information here, so you really should be reviewing this video 2 times, 3 times, go through with some, with your notes again, take great notes. Now, let's talk about the homework for this week, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to get on your way to making an autoresponder. So what you're going to do is you're going to get like a Google Doc or a Word doc, okay? You're going to make a list. Don't make it a numbered list. You should probably just write the literal number. But, you want to label 1 through 15, or you're going to want to label 1 through 30, okay? First, you got to decide, do you want to have it every other day, or do you want to have it every day, okay? And so if you're like really intimidated, maybe you can start with the 15. I would like to see you complete something, complete a plan, if not the full copy, okay? So what we're going to do is write like 1 through 15. We'll just use that as the example. But I encourage you to do 30. If you are very, very motivated and you're very into marketing, I really highly encourage you to do a daily communication autoresponder. You'll have a lot better results with your engagement from your list. But I'm going to talk through an example of the homework. I'm just going to use the 15, okay? So you'll number from 1 to 15, and then what you should do is you should make up a subject line. You should kind of make a note to yourself what type of email it is. So it's either, one of your, I'll call it like an indoctrination. If you're doing the first 5 to 7 where you're building up towards a goal or that type of thing that we reviewed just now at the end, if you're doing that, you write like indoctrination or introduction. If you're doing like a FAQ, right? FAQ. If you're doing should ask, right? Should questions you should ask, like just a note to yourself so that you know what the purpose of that one is. So one of those brainstorming ones, right? Brainstorm prompt. You can write what I called it in the video. You should go back and review them if you want. And if it's like a best of your previous material, you can write like best of. So I want you to just go through and start strategizing, write down 15, write down, what's the purpose of it? Is it to provide value? Is it to educate on the problem? Or is it to provide a solution or to educate on solutions, okay? So for each of the 15, you're gonna write like a brief subject line. It's chill if that doesn't wind up being what you use. You want to write a little note to yourself so that you remember what form of content that is. And then you're going to want to write which of your 3 reasons for sending this email it is. And then, if you can do all of that for 15, that would be chill. Let me tell you about like some bonus homework. If you wanted to keep moving forward, you start trying to write the copy underneath of it. You could write bullet points. You could do more like a brainstorming. And so here's the truth about writing. It's not going to come out perfect the first time. It's not at all. You would not believe how many times I write and rewrite all of these emails. Like, it seems like when I'm reading it to you that it rolls off the tongue. That's because I've rewritten them. Like, I've probably rewritten each email like at least 8 times, you know. It really takes a lot of work. So writing, and especially copywriting, is a process. And what I find stops people from engaging with this material is that they get scared of the blank page. So I want you to, like, that's why I'm telling you to write, you know, 1 through 15, make up a little subject line, decide what your purpose for doing it is going to be, because then you're not looking at a blank page anymore. Now you're looking at an outline, and filling in an outline, that's, you know, isn't that less scary than, oh, writing 15 to 30 emails? Like, that seems like horrifying. So I'm trying to break it up into bite-sized pieces for you. But, you know, you can try to write out the full email if you want, or you can at least have a place to start capturing your ideas, okay? You can write down, you know, little blurbs, like stories you want to tell. You can even make a first draft if you want. So I want you to play around with that, okay? But so your homework, let me review it again. You're going to number from 1 to 15 or 1 to 30. I encourage you to do 1 to 30 if you can. Then you're just going to write a brief note to yourself what type of content it is. Is it your indoctrination sequence? Is it one of your 5 to 10 brainstorm FAQs? Is it one of your 5 to 10 brainstorm should ask questions? Is it going to be one of our prompts that we overviewed in this video? Are you going to be looking at your previous content to see if you have like other good performing emails that you want to drop into the autoresponder? So you want to make that note so that you understand the purpose. Then you want to review our 3 reasons for why you should send an email to someone: to provide them value, to educate them on the problem, or to educate them on your solution. So you're going to pick which of the 3 purposes this email is going to serve. And then, you know, just start brainstorming your ideas underneath of that. Okay, you guys? And so, again, remember that tomorrow we are going to do our live stream. So if you can do this stuff tonight, we could potentially overview some of what you're working on tomorrow. And it's okay if you don't have all 15 by tomorrow, because, you know, I know that some of us work, or some of us are taking family, so I'm not trying to make an assumption about how much time you have between now and then. But, you know, don't be afraid, even if you only have the first 1 or 3 or 5 worked out, like, you know, at this basic outline level. You see what I'm saying? But even if you only have the first couple that you've done like that, hop on the live stream still. Talk to me. You don't have to be scared, and you don't have to feel like, oh, I didn't do all 15, so Jamie doesn't want to talk to me. That's not true. I want to talk to all of you. Okay, so until Thursday, rich friends. Last live stream was a bit of a short notice, so I'm gonna try my best to give you a better notice about when I'm gonna be able to do it tomorrow. But I just wanted to preface and let you know that tomorrow is like the same kind of situation. I'm gonna be at my house meeting with people a lot, so it's not that I'm bad at planning. I live and die by my Google Calendar, but it's just like some of this other stuff. Sometimes they leave me alone, and sometimes they don't, you know what I mean? And that's why last time I was doing it in my car, because they're like talking to me and stuff, and I'm like, like, you're not important to me. My rich friends are important to me right now. So, but I know that last time it was a little bit short notice, so I want to try to give you guys more notice. I think last time I literally just posted, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do it in a second when my app updates, and then like a minute later I was doing it. So, you know, thank you for everybody who joined me last time. I hope to see more of you, and everybody again from last time. I hope to see you tomorrow. And I really appreciate you. I know so many people have went and reviewed the live stream, so I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate that as well, because as you can see, I'm trying super, super hard to put together awesome content for you guys. So it really just makes me happy to see you using it, to be honest. So thank you so much for joining me in the second lesson, rich friends. I apologize that it went on a little long, but like I said, it's just a lot of content to get through, And I have so many more things that I could have told you. I had to cut them down from my outline. And even what I wrote in the outline wasn't like everything that I know or everything that I would want to share with you, okay? So, but yeah, I appreciate you sticking with me for this long one, because I know that it definitely is not the easiest thing to do in the world. But you guys here, you're so smart and you're such dedicated learners, so you're all doing a great job. I just wanted to tell you that. All right? Bye-bye, rich friends. Until next time.